Hashtag tweet the table. Very simple, fun, interactive part of this show where you get to tell us what to talk about. This is your show now. At WIR Cata, he says, I'd love if the hashtag AEW All Out crowd in Chicago were also massive pro Darby fans. Just a match between two similar guys who respect each other. Hashtag AEW Dynamite. Hashtag tweet the table. And I tell you what, that works here because of this CM Punk return. But I think that's the only reason this works. I don't want that. It's rare that just two guys who respect each other and everybody's like, good show, good sir. I'm not interested. I want to fight. I want somebody to be pissed.
Obviously, the best stories are those with a rivalry. And typically, when two people like each other, it's a good match, but then not much follows up. And as longtime listeners will know, we care about the stories more than we care about the singular match itself. Now, I will say, I did like how CM Punk, on his second appearance, did say, hey, I need to prove that I'm the best in the world, that I can still go. And I need to prove that with who I think right now is the best in the world. So it makes sense that these two right now would be friendly. However, the person we're not hearing from in this whole situation is Darby Allen. Now, again, he made the call out, 4 or 5 weeks ago, saying, hey, if you think you're the best in the world, you prove it here. And then CM Punk in his first interaction looks up into the rafters and there's Darby and there's Sting. But now I need to hear from Darby. Okay. Yeah. The biggest person in pro wrestling is calling you out. You know what I mean? How do you feel about that?
Well, so here's my problem. I think they try to do two storylines at once. CM Punk could not come back and not do a shoot promo the first time he came back. It'd been so long. It was so public. It was so dragged through the mud. But then they also did, Darby Allin calls out the best in the world. Well, the best in the world hears the bat call, and he rides into town. You can't do both of them. Either CM Punk is pissed that you get your fucking name out of my mouth, or, oh my God, I would never return if I didn't feel like it was pro wrestling again, even though there had been pro wrestling. That's my problem with that portion of it. But again, maybe it's just because I'm not a yay Darby guy, right? This is going to be fun. This is going to be good. CM Punk's not going to put on a poor performance his first time out the gate, is he?
No, but right. I think as we get closer to September 5th, I would like to see some tension and some ego, right? Because that's the other thing that we know about the CM Punk character, going back to even Ring of Honor, is he is a very prideful person. He is a very, for lack of a better term, ego-centered person, which I think will even say is his character and also him himself a little bit. Yeah. So I want to see that come out as hey, I'm getting now into ring shape. Darby Allin, I think on Sunday, September 5th, I'm going to mop the floor with you.
I'm going to kick you in the calf so hard.
And then that's where we got to see Darby Allin's reaction before the match. How is he feeling? Because we haven't seen anything, right? Yeah. And also on top of that, what is Darby Allin's relationship with Sting going into the biggest match of his career? But what is Sting doing to help him in the situation, right? Is he saying, hey, I went through this with Hogan in 97 at Starrcade. You know what I mean?
So this is where we could get the real tensions between Darby and Sting that we've said would be great to hint at, right? It's yes, he's there with him supporting, and Punk's just the hell, you got an old man talking for you or whatever, be no disrespect, you know what I mean, or whatever he does, right? And then Darby's no, maybe you should just leave. And he's excuse me, I'm fucking Sting, I am fucking Sting, right? How he can muddy the waters, right?
Well, he needs to muddy the waters, I think, with CM Punk just to address the elephant in the room, which CM Punk did when he pointed it out. He's and I also see you, Sting, right? But I would like to see, as again we have enough time to tell it here, is if Sting is giving Darby Allin advice saying, hey, you need to be working out with the weights 2 more times a week than you already are, and Darby Allin's I've never lifted in my life, I'm not going to start now. And then I know when I faced Hogan or when I faced Flair.
Listen, I read 3 scriptures a day.
Well, but what I'm saying is he could say, what I did to prepare to win my biggest match was this. I think you should do it too. And Darby's saying, and now there's the tension. Because if Darby loses, which we think he will, right? We won't get into picks right now, but he has to lose. CM Punk's not going to lose his first match, is he?
I could foresee where he wants to be
Nah, not the first one.
I did the job.
Maybe down the road, but not the first one.
Hey, he lost his first UFC fight. Well, he lost both of them, but look, both of those are at work. So,
but hey, if you follow us on our YouTube channel, you got to see my instant reaction of AEW Rampage when CM Punk debuted. So check that out if you haven't already. So I'll save my comments. But Tim, we have not heard from you as far as that initial reaction. What did you think of CM Punk debut? What did you think of the whole spectacle?
Rampage was awesome. And I have gone from going into the show at about a 65% happy that CM Punk was supposed to be coming back to I'd say I'm probably hovering around an 85-90 right about now. And I think we discussed why my oh, Jesus, here we go. CM Punk, right? This could be good. This could be weird. And all that is still yet to tell, right? But I think he came out and he did a lot of good things. I think he addressed some of maybe what turned us off before, right? Be his attitude or his kind of demeanor and whatnot. And he addressed if you went in the right headspace, man, we all know that, right? Or we should, right? Mental health issues are real, you know what I mean?
Yeah, people have listened to this podcast long enough, have seen me go through ups and downs, so I totally understand what he's talking about. Yeah.
So, again, I thought the promo was good, right? And I think he took a few right shots at WWE without leaning into it and without making it completely about that. Instantly, the night of took a bit of a cynical, go figure, thought of, he said well, I left pro wrestling in 2005, right? And then I'm back in pro wrestling. Well, you remember when The Miz spouted off at Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack and said, then fucking quit and go wrestle in the bingo halls like you say you fucking love. Be it or fucking stop saying you are, right? That's kind of where I felt. I was like, well, you could have gone back to ROH. You could have gone to NJPW. You could have gone to, you know what I mean, MLW. You could have been doing it. So there is a money aspect involved, right? The idea of I'm doing this because I love you and I've heard you. Pause, right?
But he also said he's doing it for himself because he's I came back for you, but I also came back for me. Yeah. So he did address it.
And there is that. And of course, I mean, hey, look, at some point you're a star and you're hey, listen, I don't have to do that. And they can't meet the money that I want to do it for now. So I'm not going to hate him over that. And so I've come around a little more on that. And just seeing the response. It's not miss on me that hey, even if it wasn't always my bag, oh, holy shit, it was the loudest pop I think I've ever heard. I've never not been able to hear the music over the white noise of the crowd until that moment. So it's not lost on me, right? I always thought the chants and the idolization of him were about that he finally said what everybody wanted to say. And I thought him coming back, it's well, okay, I don't see that people are oh, finally somebody's going to say what we want to say again. So I didn't think it was about CM Punk necessarily, right? But you know what I mean? Maybe it is. People seem to really, and I mean, of course, he is the embodiment of it, I guess. So we'll see where it goes. I am interested to see how he and who he wrestles and what stories he tells moving forward. Because I am not necessarily ever hoping to see a CM Punk AEW World Championship run, if that makes sense. I wouldn't. I'm just not really
from early indications, at least what he's saying out of his mouth is it's not. It's gonna be the
spectacle matches.
It's starting off with Darby Allen, and then it might go to a Brian Pillman Jr. or a Penta or a Rey Fenix.
I think we heard there's 12 matches in the contract over the year, 12 matches a year. So that would make sense. If he builds to, you know what I mean, a few events and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, if Punk does become champion though, sooner rather than later, if they shotgun it really quick, and while Hangman Adam Page is still out, and we get to see that, I just want that motherfucker coming in on a goddamn white horse to save the fucking day. That is the story for Hangman.
Yeah, I just don't know how that too, because Punk right now is on the. You can't say anything wrong about him.
No, but he can make people hate.
Oh, he could turn him
straight edge.
Yeah, he could turn him.
You know what they could fucking do again? Because of the roster and the Forbidden Door being open? They could do the fucking straight edge societists. Serena Deeb was the female.
Yep.
Luke Gallows was the big bastard. And then they could do straight edge society again. Oh, that would be fucking cool,
They
wouldn't
should
it?
cross paths in the back.
Oh,
and then they could get on Hangman Adam Page first drinking.
Yes!
And then the Dark Order
That's the story.
is there to make the save. Hangman.
Okay, what's the next tweet table?
The Spanish announce table.